Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Lizette Carretero, and we are here from the Resurrection Project. And I have my colleague here who will introduce himself.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gerardo Ravelo. Welcome.
Welcome to our first series of the next five that we'll be showcasing around financial education topics. We at the Resurrection Project have been around for over 34 years and have founded our organization based on affordable housing initiatives, healthcare initiatives, safety, and community organizing, and most recently have been conducting immigration services to help the communities that we serve and been doing it for over the last 34 years. We at the Resurrection Project are happy to be here with you all today to help guide a conversation that we think is a very important one and a foundational one. When we talk around finance, it can be a taboo, but we want to be able to break some of those uncomfortable components around the discussion to start having more of a proactive conversation with you all when it comes to money management. And today we're going to kick it off with budgeting. Budgeting, a roadmap to financial wellness. We really think that being able to stabilize and establish a strong budget can really help guide you, make informed decisions, and really help carry yourself more confidently when having that discussion around money. And really, we're going to walk through is the objective around being able to straighten your money management skills. I think what we want to be very conscious of is that we all carry a specific lifestyle, and having that lifestyle taken much into consideration when we are spending our money, when we are being able to establish a budget, because a budget really has many factors involved that sometimes we are aware or we're not really aware of the spending that we're doing. And really, our guidance and our hope here is that you reach out to experts to help you establish one for yourself if you haven't already. But before we get through all of this, we want to be able to showcase with you all, as we talked about, affordable housing is one of the main factors that we offer at the Resurrection Project. Within the organization, we have our Full Circle Homes model. Our Full Circle Homes model is really our homeownership model. It really helps guide you from the initial process of getting an education, because we feel that's the most important component of understanding the process. And so we are a team of experts that can help guide you from that initial step in providing you with home buyer education that's certified, also walking you through credit and debt management, being able to offer you an affordable home loan mortgage because we are a CDFI, and also extend you the realty services to be able to search for that home. And once you purchase that home, our services continue with post purchase education. After you own a home, there are many factors that begin into the actual homeownership journey of understanding your property taxes, understanding how to address and do fixes, and then how you're going to finance those fixes. Everything encompasses budgeting. So, whether you own a home or you don't own a home, or you're looking to just stabilize yourself financially, we think this is a really good subject to start off with. And as we introduce ourselves, I'll go ahead and just say that part of the history that we have here, we are HUD certified counselors, and we've been experienced for over 15 years. Personally, I have over 12 years of experience in working with families, establish their money management, help purchase a home, but also help keep their home and preventing foreclosure. And I'll shoot it over to my colleague Jerry so he can emphasize his experience.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you for the introduction. As Liz mentioned, I'm also a health certified counselor. I've been providing or working with families for over 18 years now. Uh, so, as Liz mentioned, we do have a whole team of experts, certified experts that can guide you through the process.
Awesome. And let's kick it off, Jerry. Let's go ahead and have you take over the conversation here.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about money management. So when we're talking about money management, we need to talk about the different tools that are available, whether you have a budget or you utilize the apps, you spend it as you go, we want to know what's your management style. Typically, my personal management style is that I like to have a spreadsheet, and in the spreadsheet, I put all my expenses as I go. I can access my spreadsheet on my phone. In the past, I used to have a notebook, and I used to write all my expenses. So that's the way that I work. So there are different tools that are available out there. As I mentioned, the monthly, quarterly, annual budgets. Some people use it in a calendar. Personally, I don't. My wife, I know she does. Liz, any style that you want to share that works for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I also utilize an Excel spreadsheet. I actually feel that doing an annual budget is what helps me kind of establish where my year is going to go. It's a big task to do because
Mm-hmm.
it's, thinking about the whole year and thinking about what events might happen throughout the year and what I'm going to participate in, or what might expect an unexpected expense to occur. So always thinking about, kind of planning ahead. So I do keep up with an Excel. I also still write some of my expenses, due dates, keep them close by. I do utilize my calendar. So it is helpful to get reminders of payments that are going to be due, because as one of my goals that I would like to share is to actually have automatic payments. But that's a big per se step to work into, I would say.
Correct. And now I wanna talk a little bit about calculating income and basically understanding your income. Uh, this is one of the most common mistakes that when an individual or a family is creating a budget. This is one of the top mistakes. Like almost everybody, we all believe that we know how to calculate income, but we actually doing an estimate. We're not calculating income in a way that it should be calculated. And today I'm going to present to you the proper way in which you can calculate your income. So as you can see on the screen, we have uh, the different frequency of payment. So we have the weekly payment, we have the biweekly payment. We understand that there's some other ones like semi-monthly, self-employed, but we're going to talk a little bit about the weekly. So, how you calculate your weekly? Typically, a simple calculation, if I state that your income is $500 a week, the normal individual will do, if I want to know what the monthly is, the normal individual will do 500 times 4, $2,000, which in reality is incorrect because that is typically an estimate. By doing a calculation in that way, basically what you're saying is that every month has 4 weeks, which is not the case. We understand that there are some months that had extra week or an extra days, and then we have February, which is less than the 4 weeks. So we need to know and calculate and allocate because of that specific variation in the different weeks. So how we do this, it doesn't matter how many weeks there are in a month, the number of weeks throughout the year will never change. Whether it's any month of the year, the number of weeks throughout the year will not change. So the proper way to calculate the income is that if you have $500, if your income is $500 per week, you multiply the $500 for 52 weeks, which is the number of weeks that are in 1 year. After that, you divide that by 12. And if we do the calculation, we know that the actual uh, correct calculation will be 2,166. Why is this important? Because if we don't calculate it properly, that's $166 a month that we're losing. And I'm saying we're losing because we didn't even count it from the beginning. So we definitely don't know where that money is going towards because we didn't know we have it. So if we take and you may think that $166 is not that much, but if it's $166 per month and you project it to the full 12 months, that's over $1,500. $1,500 that we don't know what we're spending on because we never allocated for it. So when you're calculating your income, when you understand starting to understand your income, it's important for you to know how to properly calculate it. And like I said, you have some of the calculations here. If you want to know more about calculating your income or establishing a budget, please, at the end of the presentation, you will have an opportunity to actually schedule an appointment and 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 see. We can help you with calculating your income, understanding your income.
And I think the other important factor about that, as we mentioned, the difference between gross and net pay, right? So when you're whatever application, whether you're looking to apply for a service, you're applying for a loan, you're applying for a mortgage, you're applying for affordable housing units, there's always the question around your income. What is your monthly income or what's your annual income? And so, what you want to take, because most applications generally will ask you around your gross income. Net income is really the income that we want to be able to work with you, because this is what's being deposited into your account. But there is that big difference when you're applying towards services. They do take in consideration your gross income, because what they want to do is be able to establish, in most cases, in your household, what's called an area medium income. And that is definitely something that we'll probably touch base more on later on. But it's something to take into consideration when familiarizing yourself with terminology, because I think those are the other aspects of why we want to be able to do these webinars, to be able to explain some of the terminology that you hear out there. And we want you guys to be successful in being able to calculate your own income, so you can be successful with not just, budgeting, but also taking these skills and applying them for services and for future financial products that you'll be able to apply towards. And I think that part of it, when we take in consideration your net income and why, it's so important to understand what gets deposited into your account, or what is the check that you're cashing, and the funds that you're earning, that is really what you're working with. And all that has to do with, driving the money management skills that you have. Even establishing yourself and having an automatic deposit with your company already starts helping you, keep that money stored safely somewhere. But everything is based on your lifestyle, right? So whether you have your deposits that are coming in automatically, and you know that typically if you get paid on a Friday, once that weekend hits, you want to go out and have fun. You want to be able to enjoy your hard work earned money, and be able to lavish yourself with different type of things, for some, from self-care, from having really good quality family time, from having essentially just a relaxing time for yourself. So take in consideration what that lifestyle and what your lifestyle is, and what kind of spending individual you are. Because I think we started talking about this at some point, and we identify that we all have, different type of spending habits, but it all mirrors our lifestyle, right? And so influence has a lot to do with how we drive our money. And what makes up your lifestyle? Family, friends, right? I think that we all want to be able to enjoy and celebrate the joys of being able to come together as a community and celebrate anniversaries, birthdays, weddings, new additions to families. Whether that's babies or fur babies, having dogs, having pets, any idea of like having fun, which is very broad in the sense of what you enjoy, which is concerts, going to restaurants, trying new things, and shopping, right? But then also take in consideration your culture and your values, culture expectations, society perceptions, family obligations, and celebrations also to take in consideration when it comes to the consideration of your lifestyle. And let's talk about average cost of life events. So when we talked about budgeting earlier, we discussed a little bit about what our styles of budgeting tend to be. And when I mentioned having an annual budget, it was really in the sense of planning ahead. When I had friends that were going to get married, and so when we look at today's costs, and of course costs are going up,
Mm-hmm.
you want to take in consideration so many things that might happen with certain life events. So we have weddings that averagely are anywhere between a minimum of 15,000 to 30,000 on an average, and an anniversary. And this could be a wedding anniversary. This could be a friend anniversary. When you're looking to, do something and plan for something, that's usually going to be anywhere between 500 and $1,500, right? And musical festivals. Unlimited amount of musical festivals have been popping up every year, activities, events. One thing is purchasing that wristband, your daily or all 3 day wristbands, and then the actual event occurs, and the food and the drinks and the different activities that are embedded within these amazing festivals can get really expensive. So,
Hmm.
which is obviously something we want to take advantage of because that's part of wanting to build experiences. It's just taking all of these things in account. Anything else that I'm missing, Jerry?
Um, there's also, you mentioned some weddings, anniversaries, music festivals. There's also those cultural events like baptisms, cotillions, um, graduations, that that they are gonna happen. If when your child is gonna get the graduation, so you want to plan ahead and you want to
Exactly.
allocate for that.
And that's planning ahead.
Hmm.
Then there's unexpected life events, right, that will sometimes throw off what you're working towards because of unfortunate circumstances. Your car breaks down, there's a death in the family, there's a job loss, things that we have to take in consideration to pivot, to halt and reconsider what we have available before we get ourselves into debt, or before we extend ourselves to friends and family to ask for support. It really is about building your own financial landscape so that way you can try to plan ahead as much as possible. And so when we talk about tracking expenses and due dates, I think what we touched on earlier, some ways that we keep up with our money management, which is using Excel spreadsheets, calendars, reminders. Why is it so important to be able to track some of these expenses? Obviously, to be able to manage our money when we get paid, so our bills can also get paid as well, right? So we can pay ourselves throughout that process. But what's the importance really when it comes to due dates? The importance around due dates is that when you are late, you're paying late penalty fees. When you
Right.
are late, let's say with a credit card, you might get dinged in your credit report. And so that's going to impact your credit score. And we will be talking about credit in the next couple seminars. So continue to follow us within this conversation, because this essentially, we're starting to tackle the initial aspects of where things can start crumbling for you. And we want to help and prevent that from happening because it could happen. But the idea and the goal is to make sure that you're back on track if a circumstance happens, and knowing where to step in and knowing what to address when you do fall behind or if you are late on your payments. But really, the emphasis here is that know your due dates and have those due dates, really embedded in a calendar, in a phone reminder, have a whiteboard. I don't know. Is there anything else you utilize, Jerry, for this?
No, I pretty much utilize a lot of my Google Calendar. So I have my Google
Mhm.
Calendar on my phone. I utilize my phone as much as I can. So I access my spreadsheets on my phone, my calendar on my phone. So I get a reminder, and then I set it up that it reminds me at least 3 to 4 days prior to the payment. So that way I have the time to make the payment, because it's not just that you're making a late payment. You can make a payment on the same day, but if your bank is on a different time zone, that payment is not going to be processed until the next day. But the next day will be already late, and you could acquire the late fee.
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought up the business days because then there's holidays. We just went through a holiday this past week. And so that means typically banks are closed, businesses are not processing your payments. And so if you process your payment, the day of, more than likely it's not going to post until the next couple of days. And so
Right.
in those cases, again, you will be late. And we just want you to, help avoid late fees, because late fees generally as well can range anywhere between $5 to $40. So those are things that, again, we want to be
Right.
able to know and understand where all our money goes.
Exactly. And then if you really think about it, and if you're late on one credit card, maybe not the same credit card, but you're late on one credit card every month because of whatever reason, that's over $300 a year that you're just wasting on late fees.
And speaking of a year, I think this is a perfect segue, Jerry, where we can look at our year at a glance. So when we talk about building your budget for the year, when we talk about knowing your income and calculating your expenses, we want to show you a tool that was designed to be able to help you be able to keep track of these expenses and activities. So I'm going to go ahead and allow you to share your screen, Jerry, so that way you can walk us through this year at a glance.
All right. Thank you, Liz. Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
All right, great. And like Liz mentioned, this is a tool that will be available for every participant. In this tool, we want to highlight and emphasize the importance of calculating and keeping track of your expenses. So in this tool specifically, it has a built-in calculator. So all you had to do is specify to the calculator what is your payment schedule, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, or monthly. And if it's weekly, you're going to be required to enter 4 pay stubs. So let's go at it. The first one will be your gross. As you can see, this is your gross. This will be your net. For the purpose of your expenses, we will utilize your net, which is what the calculator will do. This spreadsheet will calculate and use your net. Uh, However, we want you to know and keep track of your gross, since the gross will be utilized for any type of application, whether it's on credit application or any type of service. So we want you to know what your gross income is, whether it's monthly or yearly. So without further delay, let's get right at it. So let's say that your gross income on a weekly schedule is $900, uh, 950 per week. Just to make it simple, we're gonna say that your payment didn't change for this month. So as you can see, it automatically calculates your income, and your gross monthly income is 4,116 with 67 cents. Now let's say now that your net is $800.75. Again, your net remains the same since all the deductions are the same. Nothing has changed. So it's telling us that your monthly net income is 3,791 with 67 cents. Now, we also open a little bit of space for you to have any additional income, whether it's a family contribution, maybe you're renting a portion of your home, you're receiving child support, or you have a side job. So let's say that you have a side job, and within your side job, you're making $500 per month. So your total monthly net income will be $4,291 with 67 cents. Now, in the bottom part, this is where you can actually include all of your expenses. And I kind of like pre-selected some expenses here. So let's say that your rent is $1,200, your gas bill is $120, your electric bill is $100, and you can also categorize in different categories that we also have here. Because of the utilities we consider within housing, so that's why I group them together. And I'm going to tell you why it's important once we continue with the process of actually selecting the proper category when you're talking about this. Uh, we have groceries, energy drinks, which is within food and habits. And I put energy drinks because I'm a big fan of energy drinks. And this is something that I probably need to start cutting on. I'm spending $100 per month, maybe even more. But that is something that you can see once we continue uh, Let's say you have a gym membership, you have subscriptions like Netflix, and there's so many other subscriptions nowadays. You can have a Hulu subscription, and that will be, I think Hulu is running anywhere from $9.99 to like
Mm-hmm.
$14.
Yep.
So let's say this is $10. Let's say you have a car loan. Within your car loan, we're gonna put it into transportation. And let's say your car loan is 550. And something that I want to point out is that as you continue to make your expenses, you can see that this number is changing. This is your surplus or deficit, whether you have money left over or you don't. If it goes into a negative, that means that we're overextending and we're spending more than what we're making. And that's something, it's a red flag for us to actually take a look into our spending and see why. There was it a um, an extra expense that we didn't allocate for? Or what's the reason why we're overextending ourselves here? So I'm gonna leave it as that when it comes to this month. And then I want to point out to the summary tab. Uh, and don't be afraid to play with it. Everything is already secure. So if you're trying to, there's only a specific fields that you need to work with. If you're trying to maybe by mistake typing on this one, the system will not allow you to. So don't be afraid to practice with this. Uh, it's totally ready for you to work. So let's say this is my budget. And one of the things that I want to point out is that we're taking this directly from your surplus that it was in this. You may see that there's a different amount. And the reason why there's a different amount is because I understand that money will get lost at some point. So I'm giving you a 10% wiggle. You can take it as an allowance in a way for you to spend on whatever. Uh, And this is a suggestion. If your surplus is at this amount, the minimum that you should be saving should be this amount. That's what this is telling you. Uh, I mentioned that it's important for you to actually categorize that correctly. And the reason for that is because you can look into your net income for that month, your total expenses, and what is your surplus or deficit. Now, you can also take a look into your subscriptions. So in this example, your subscriptions for that month equal $60. If we go back, we can see that there is a gym membership subscription for 35. We have a Hulu subscription for $10, and we have a Netflix subscription for $15. And that's built your subscription for 60. That's what you're spending on subscriptions for that month. If you go to housing, you can see that your housing payment, and that includes whether it is your rent or mortgage and your utilities in this case, and that's what you're spending on housing, and so on. You can take a look per month. You can do it per month, or you can do it throughout the year. In this case, it didn't change because we only working with 1 month. But if we, as we continue to fill up this spreadsheet, you will be able to see the changes. Another thing that I want to highlight is that there's also a goal saving tool. I remember, if you guys remember, we talked a little bit about those expenses that we know are going to happen. So let's say you're trying to save for a graduation. Okay, so you're trying to save for a graduation, and you're trying to save, I don't know, $3,500. You're trying to save this in the next, so your kid is going to graduate in 2 years from now, so let's say 24 months, and you currently have $50 in your savings account. What this spreadsheet is calculating and is telling you is that you should save at least $147 with 92 cents per month in order to achieve your $3,500 in the 2 year period. Let's say you want to save $3,500. I mean $30,000, $35,000. This and you want to save this in the next 3 years. So that will be 36
36.
months.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you currently have $1,500 in your savings. So what this tool is telling you is that you should save at least $1,000 and $1,013 with 89 cents in order to achieve your goal of $35,000. If we look at your expenses and your suggested saving amount, you have more than that, and you still have a wiggle of about $400. So this is one of the tools that we have available that TRP has designed for you to utilize.
Awesome, Jerry. Thank you so much for walking us through this. And like Jerry mentioned, we will be um, able to provide you this tool. In the link at the bottom, you will see a link to be able to fill out a form. So that way we can go ahead and email you this template so you can utilize it.
And let me
And I'll
stop
go ahead.
sharing so that you can go back to the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you, Jerry. And so if, that seemed a little overwhelming, if you would like us to help you, this is what we're here to do. And so we are here to give you this personalized and guided approach so we can help you establish this budget, and then you can move it, carry it forward, and establish it yourself monthly. Because if you saw, it was January to December. So what you want to do is go ahead and implement those expenses that you have, that are fixed expenses for the month, like our housing, like our car loan, like our subscriptions. So those are the things that you'll be able to see. And we didn't get a chance to showcase, but there is a total at the end of the spreadsheet, not just in the summary, but you'll also be able to see it on the main data entry sheet so that you can see annually how much money you're spending in subscriptions, how much money you're spending in your housing. And if you're renting, it gives you an awareness of knowing that all the money that you are going through spending on your rent is essentially money that you will not see on a return. So hopefully it motivates you to want to be able to start the initial process of home ownership as well. But together we can help you develop an action plan. Together we can help you walk through a lot of these expenses and really what to expect from an appointment when you meet with one of our coaches. Is a support process, being able to get a full financial analysis, establishing those financial goals that you have, reviewing your budget, checking your credit, and looking at activity that's in your credit report, and really helping you with accountability. So we're here to help you establish this monthly budget, to help you establish an annual budget, and then check in with you and say how things are going. How have you been able to get closer to your goal, or has life happened and interrupted your goal, and now you're pivoting and having to readjust the timeline? Because I think for us the importance in when we're meeting with you is to be able to give you these timelines on when you'll be able to hit those goals, when you'll be able to save money, when you'll be able to tackle debt, and you don't have to do it alone. Why? Again, as we expressed earlier, there's a lot of terminology in the financial world that can confuse us. And so we've been doing a lot of this work for many years. And so we want to be able to show you and showcase to you that we've seen it all. And essentially, whether it's a complicated situation, I think that's part of why we've become experts in what we do, because we've been able to see and help guide families eliminate those barriers that are causing you to delay your financial goals. And with that, we want to say thank you for participating in this conversation today. Like we mentioned, we wanted to showcase and start breaking down a lot of the subjects that we work through in our consultations that are completely free. So essentially, the work that we do, the services that we offer, everything that we mention is completely free. And so we want you to take advantage of these services because this is what's going to help kick off better money habits, a better established and confident, independent self that we want you to be. And really, our next conversation, what we'll be jumping towards is debt reduction, because that I know ties us in doing and moving towards our next goal or achieving our next goal. Or sometimes we just don't know where to start when dealing with our debt. But if you would like a custom budget, do not hesitate to schedule an appointment. As mentioned, we will be adding a link so you can fill out a form and then submit an inquiry, and we will have someone from our team reach out to you so that way we can get you on your start of your journey and getting a better budget and having a more healthy financial roadmap for yourself, for your family, and then also, if you are inspired, help your friends and tell them about it and tell your family about it. Because I think that's what we know financial wellness starts with financial education. So, our next session will be March 14th, as mentioned, as we talk about debt reductions. We also want to jump into savings. And then, most importantly, tapping into credit. Because I think all of these topics, all of these, conversations are all tied together. And so we want to be able to tackle one by one with you. Anything else, Jerry, to close us out?
No, thank you so much for participating in this webinar. Hopefully, what we presented was a benefit for you. And as Liz mentioned, if you need assistance to create a more personalized budget, please do not hesitate to reach out to the Resurrection Project so we can have our experts helping you out.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.